Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Hope you are all doing well. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Man. Hey, Allison. Wait for you guys to stroll on in. Man, I hope you guys are doing well and that your week has been good so far. It is officially like fire season in Edmonton already. Like it's May 7th. We had like a bushfire yesterday and the smoke is in the air today. And no one's been hurt or anything, but smoke be messing up my allergies. So if I start to get red-faced and like making weird faces, you'll know why. Delusional is being more delusional than? What? Yes, Dante. Oh, y'all. Listen. I mean, I'm down to get into it right away and everyone else can kind of catch up. Dante, this reaction, listen, I know it's your kid. I know your kid almost died. But logically speaking, like, I wouldn't be putting all that energy towards Gio, the guy who at least got my kid out of the college party and into, you know, a safer place. I, like, right away, my mind would be going to Danny, because Gio already said, you know, Danny told me that Rocco was passed out drunk, and, you know, there's that. So, I don't know. Allison says Dante is way over the top. Yeah. It annoyed me because it felt like it just felt so forced. Like there was no, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I feel like no matter how angry I was, like I would be placing the anger on the person that would make the most logical sense to blame it on. Like, you know, Gio was at a college party because he's in college. Like, and Danny happened to be there and Rocco happened to be there. Yeah, Allison said, yeah, Danny even told him he didn't have to drink. Yeah, they weren't going to drink. They just had to hold it to blend in. I mean, we know Danny's drank in the past, so maybe he would have drank there, but I don't know. But, like, you know, I mean, Rocco did respond to peer pressure. And, like, I get that. I don't think I drank anything until I was actually 18 myself. I did sneak into a bar when I was 17. But I don't even think I drank there because I think I was just so nervous. Like, seriously. Oh, man. But I only did that one time, y'all. Only snuck into a bar one time. And, yeah. I was a good kid. I just wanted to know what it was like to be at a bar. And that particular bar was closing that night. So that, you know, it was pretty easy to get in all fairness. Yeah. That's my story. But yeah, as for Dante, I get it. You see your kid drink, he's never drank before. Gio was at the party, but like it's a party on a beach. You could see the wheels turning in Lulu's head. Yep, Lulu's already figured it out. She's already, you know, has her eyes set for Gio when he was born and where was Lois when he was born. So she gonna be looking into it. Allison, you said I went to France when I was 16. It was crazy. Wine is cheaper than water there. Dang. Well, I guess it's a dime a dozen over in France. But is the drinking age 16 in France, or did you just like drink when you were 16? I know that some places have younger age limits or just don't care as much about IDing and such. But even to a point, Montreal, like my hometown, is very much like that. But I was a toddler basically when I moved out of there. So, but I don't know. Like when I first went back as an adult, like I don't know. No one ID'd me anywhere. Like I went to so many places and no one ID'd me. 16, okay. But yeah, no. Dante's reaction really annoyed me because it felt like it was all for the plot and not because it logically made any sense. It was just like, we need Dante and Gio to start having more scenes together because they haven't really. And I don't know. I think the interesting part was Dante saying, "Oh, like Gloria and Lois, you always swooped in anytime Gio was getting picked on by the rest of the family." And it's like, okay, and it still doesn't justify like being mad at him for your kid drinking when all he did was bring him back. And like, sure, he doesn't believe him, but like, this is someone he likely grew up with in some way, and knew he had a good head on his shoulders. He's been in town for what, a year now? Probably not a year, but like close to it. And like, what has he done? Has he gotten into any trouble whatsoever in the year that he's been living in that house? It's like, and I know like Dante, like, he's only been living in the house since Sam died, really. But even that, it's been several months. You know what kind of guy he is. Basically, Gio's been nothing about a 1955 soap opera character, even like music. Allison says Lois needs to tell the truth about Gio already. She looked like she was about to slip up when she's like, if you only knew who he was. And that's what clued Lulu in the first place. I think Lulu's gonna be the one to tell Brooklyn that Gio is her son. I think that's gonna be the case. I think she's gonna search for the clues, find out the truth, and bring it to Brooklyn. Because, to that end, yeah, Brooklyn's gonna be mega pissed at Lois and Gloria, but like, knowing that their son is in their house and has been the whole time, and they're both living there, like, she would want Dante to know, I think, after that. Hey, Angel. I think it will come out at the nurse's ball, which is like, it's not that far away, 13 days-ish. I guess that's not long in the grand scheme of like soap time. Days just kind of go by. Next week they could be saying the nurse's ball is tomorrow, and then the next few days will be like the day before. Lois needs to stop talking so much. Of course Lulu will tell BLQ. Yeah. And then maybe it'll somewhat ease up the animosity because she found her son. She'll probably be mad that she stuck her, head where it wasn't her business, but at the same time she'll be grateful to know the truth that her mom kept from her. But yeah, we'll see. And keep it calm, Kaiwan. That's Dante level extra that you're doing right there. But yeah, I think, yeah, it just really, really annoys me that it's just it's such a plot driven thing for Dante to be this mad. Like, it doesn't make any sense that he's this mad at Gio. Yeah, it's your kid. Yeah, you're terrified. Yeah, your kid almost died. But Gio has no, like, Gio's not gonna lie. You know the kid, you grew up with him. He's lived in your house. You know how he operates. It's like, I don't know. It's so dumb to me. It's so dumb to me. But it is what it is. We're here where we're at. And I hope that he brings the same level to Danny and Jason that he brings to Gio. Otherwise, it'll be twice as ridiculous. Because Danny brought him to the party. Danny put him in a situation where older kids, thinking he's already 18, were going to pressure him into drinking more. Danny's the reason why he's there. And honestly, I don't mind that Lois called Dante out and was like, you know, Gio was there. Where were you? Where were you? Y'all were supposed to go with your kids like to some game, and you left them at the boathouse. Yeah, they got in trouble and ended up there, but you left them there. You didn't check on them. You didn't call them. Nothing. No text. Nothing. Nothing. Arguing petty arguments about Brooklyn and Chase. Dante was always afraid of Gio's mother. Make some conflict. I don't know. Like, it's just, there should have been some, like, more backstory, like, to Dante not being as trusting. But that's something that they should have, like, discussed when Gio arrived in town. Because it's pretty obvious that I don't know if they got Gio in and that's when they decided, let's give Dante and Brooklyn a child, or like they planned it from the get-go. Because it seemed like Gio was a guest role to just play violin at Brooklyn and Chase's wedding. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It seems so dumb. It just seems dumb. It's making the storyline more dumb than it already was in the first place. But yeah, like this is the level or the lack of care that the writers have with a storyline like this. Like, it just felt like there was nothing. You didn't like plan a backstory. You know, you didn't really give Dante and Gio much of a relationship. They barely talked about what their relationship was like in Bensonhurst at all. So it's like we got no context. You know, we have all the reason because we've not seen any of it. We have all the reason in the world to think that everyone thinks that that Gio is a good kid because he's shown that the entire time he's been here. He's this introverted guy that plays classical music on his violin. He only started really hanging out with like Jocelyn and Trina because they lived in the Quartermain house. And Emma, he just ran into at a park. And those are the only 3 friends he has, for God's sakes. It's like, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, no set plan for Gio, the character, when he joined the cast. Okay, well, there you go. But, like, once they did, that's when they should have started laying the groundwork for a backstory for Gio and Dante. If they were going to make him Dante's kid and make him someone that was in the neighborhood with the Sorellos and the Falconaries, then you start from there. You plant that seed. You have them talk. And then you slowly bring out the facts like, oh, Brooklyn had a child with Dante as a teenager and Dante never knew. Then you start building the story around it because we all knew Gio was going to be the son. We all called that the second they started talking about Brooklyn being pregnant. What have you all been saying? Dante was busy listening to Lulu whining. Yep. Well, she could have still texted the kids. They could have still texted the kids. Angel, you said this whole Rocco situation proves kids still need drug abuse resistance education. I remember that. They would pick up on alcohol intoxication a lot earlier. Man, I don't know if that necessarily stopped me from doing anything. I feel like I just I don't know. I was not cool, y'all. I was pretty introverted myself growing up in school. Barely had any friends at school. Most of my friends were in my neighborhood, and they were all good kids as well. So like we didn't do anything that bad. Like, you know, we'd play hide and seek outside and stuff. Like that was my life. There wasn't no sneaking around, smoking weed, drinking, none of that with my friend group in the neighborhood. So it's like, I don't know. And like, to be fair, like most of my friends weren't even from Canada. A lot of them, because it was like the 90s and like early 2000s, we had a lot of immigrants from Kosovo because they were escaping the war. So most of my friends were from there. So they were innocent and not really knowing much about Canada culture. Obviously, slowly learning to speak English as we grew older. Did y'all have Dare in Canada? We sure did. We sure did. Yep. I had it in my school as well. I barely remember the classes. I just remember a lion being on like the logo and like Dare in like red letters with like drugs, abuse, resistance, education. And actually I seen a shirt with that lion today, but it was like a satire one. And ironically, he was leaving a weed store. So it was funny. But like, yeah, it's Angel said my dare officer taught us what alcohol intoxication is. I don't remember anything they said. I remember there being an officer talking to us, but I'll be damned if I remember a single word of it. Maybe it worked. I don't know. I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. Like, you know, until I was an adult and experimented. But like, hey, I avoided peer pressure as a teen in high school. And actually, no, now that I'm kind of thinking about high school, like, there was a nightclub party, but like for like high school kids at a nightclub where they weren't serving drinks. At least I don't know. I feel like there was probably adults in there too, but there was probably some kind of way that they differentiated us from them. It was like they probably had wristbands, or we probably had wristbands, and so they could tell who the kids were and who weren't. So yeah, I guess technically the story of when I did go to a nightclub when I was 17 was my second experience, I think. Because that first one I was in like grade 10, so like literally fresh off the boat. Whereas at least, you know, in that year when I was 17, like I was, you know, pretty much, I would have been, was I done with high school? No, I would have been just like my last year of high school. Angel said, I remember in elementary school I played a drug dealer for the dare play we had. There's a dare play? Man, I don't know if we ever did that, but maybe. It's a long ass time ago. Like, I mean, we would have had that probably in elementary school, I think. I don't think it was junior high. To me, I remember it being in elementary school. Oh, sorry. Junior high is like what we call, or you guys call it middle school, I think, in the States. We called it junior high, and then high school was just high school. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I just barely remember that class, and I was, you know, if it was elementary school, then that's something I barely remember. Gang violence took you out. Oh, you played a drug dealer and you got killed in the play? Lord. Man. Welp. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we did something like that either, but I just can't remember. And I likely probably stayed out of it. It's crazy now kids get stuff off of TikTok. Like, they get drugs and alcohol off of TikTok? That's a thing? Oh, you call it both. Okay. Well, that's good to know. We never called it middle school here. Oh, Degrassi. You know, I didn't really watch that show all that much. I watched some of it. Middle school mostly. Okay. But I know Degrassi was essentially, about a high school, and there was always drama, whether it was drugs or, teen pregnancies or like, it's the first, at least the one that I watched growing up was like, well, not really watched, but like had familiarity with was Degrassi: The Next Generation, because that was when I was in high school. And that was like I feel like those were like the first like gay storylines that I had seen as a closeted gay man back then. And I was just so envious of it. And all those stories on like those shows back then were like kind of the same. They were just like, all of a sudden this, the teenager realizes he's gay, and then there's this other guy and he has a big crush on him, but he's swearing he's straight, but they might have feelings, and then he ends up actually being gay, and then it's like this whole, I don't know, big angsty like high school love story that has so much at stake and so many secrets and consequences. And like, damn, did I want that in high school because of that show. I want one of the straight guys I have a crush on to turn out to be gay and us have a secret romance. Never happened. You recited your lines in a graveyard. Lord. Well, I'm glad you've been revived. Allison, you said they find dealers on there. Dealers have freaking channels? What? Dang. I guess it makes sense. Technology, man. And honestly, technology is how I ended up going on dates in the first place. It was, there wasn't like Scruff and Grinder back then, but it was like Nexopia, which is like, I hate to compare it, but like MySpace for like Canada. Except like you couldn't put your songs and do all these crazy codes to make it. And I had both, to be fair, because my cousins introduced me to MySpace, and they were from Florida, or they lived in Florida rather, so they knew all the things over there. Hey Nathan, we've got into talking about drugs and alcohol and what you learn as a kid growing up, because we've been talking about Dante's reaction to Geo, and how the DARE program, if you remember that, was something that kids had back in the day, myself included, Angel included, that we had in school, and perhaps it stopped us from doing drugs. I don't know. I can speak for me and say that I just never did them, but I don't know if DARE was necessarily the reason. I just was an introverted kid at school, and outside of school, my friends in my neighborhood were all good kids. We were all like innocent dudes and dudettes, okay? Nathan says the whole thing with Geo is contrived and forced. Yeah, that's basically how I started this whole stream, is saying exactly that. It is so contrived and forced, and it's just a stupid way to build angst in the story when they should have been doing that from the get-go. And I went on that whole rant, Nathan, and I stand by it, and I'm glad you agree with me, because it was ridiculous. But yeah, truly. And also what you said, and it wouldn't surprise me if they came up with this on the fly. Yeah, we were discussing like, did Geo like come in first, and then they decided to make him the kid, and I think it was Angel that said, yeah, Geo confirmed, the actor that plays Geo, whose name is also Geo, confirmed that they didn't bring him in with the plan to make him Dante and Brooklyn's kid. But I said, the second they decided it, that's when they sort of started building the damn story, the backup story. Give Dante and Geo some angst from the neighborhood, and write in the awkwardness and untrustingness naturally, because there's no reason in the time that Geo has been in Port Charles that Dante should think that he is a bad kid that was trying to play it cool and be the cool kid that was letting his his unknowing little brother drink at a party. He did not know. If anything, Jocelyn should get some blame because she saw Danny there and said, "You didn't see me, and I didn't see you." So Jocelyn's really kind of the one that he should be attacking a little bit. I wonder if Danny's gonna, rat out Jocelyn to anybody. Curious about that. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to catch up to your conversation. It is it true Grindr is for LGBTQ people, period, and not just gay men? I don't know. I would say that it seems to be for gay men, but there is a lot of transgender people on there I'm noticing these days. But I've not seen any lesbians. I think they have their own thing. I don't know what it is, because it's none of my business. I don't care. But maybe it could be different in different places as well. Like there are guys with girlfriends on there that they want to, have a threesome. So it's, bisexual, of course. So I guess, gays, bisexuals, and transgender for sure. But I don't see, lesbians looking for lesbians on there. Because I think they have their own stuff. Sorry, I missed some things that you were saying. Someone asked me if I heard of speed dating earlier, and I can't remember who, but yeah, I have. I've never done it, though. Angel, you said, Dare taught me to drink responsible with alcohol when I was able to drink. I mean, for me, at least, in my young adult years, I managed to not throw up at all. I would get drunk, sure, but, I never, drank so much that I puked back then. I think as I got older, I realized and started to, not be able to handle alcohol as well. There was probably, a couple times where it happened. But yeah, I can probably, even up until now, count on one hand how many times I've puked from drinking. So maybe it did teach me, or maybe I'm just smart. Because, I don't know, at some point in my life, I kind of I don't know, just instilled in me to eat something before I pass out, because it'll make less of a hangover, it'll sober you up before you go to bed, and that's kind of the key to wake up with no hangover. And I stand by that, and I still do that. And not that I drink that much these days, really. I usually nowadays try to limit my drinks to just a couple of drinks, maybe a shot, and then leave it at that. Although recently I did get a little more drunk than usual at one particular show, because it was a show that I wasn't working, that I was just there to have fun at, and it was my bass player's show, but we stuck around for the rest of the bands too. But I got so sloshed, and I was like, whoa. But I think it's because I didn't get a chance to eat before, so it kind of quickened in me. But I still was smart enough to go on Skip the Dish on my phone while I'm in my Uber on my way home, ordered my food, raced it home basically, and it got there 2 minutes after I got home, ate it, sobered up, was good to go, went to bed, woke up, no hangover. Skills. But yeah, no, truthfully, I really don't like to drink a whole lot, because I don't like the hangovers. It's not worth it. It is not worth it anymore. Hasn't been worth it for 10 years. All right. Kaiwan, you said it helped you not do drugs. Angel says, Dare taught me to responsibility with alcohol when I was able to drink. Kaiwan says, do you know what it is with Gio? They don't make bad teenagers on the show. Gio should have been smoking, drinking alcohol. I mean, Danny was literally one of those kids. He got, he mentioned it with Carly, and I remember seeing it. Danny got brought into their home by the police because he was caught drinking. And so there is. They just don't showcase it that much on the show. But we do need a bit more I do wish that Danny was a bit more of a troublemaker. He still seems really responsible despite making dumb decisions overall. Like, he didn't encourage Rocco to drink. He said, you don't have to drink it. Just hold it in your hand and blend in. Like, he like supported him not drinking it. Allison says Trump's on acid thinking he's going to buy Canada. Let's not get into politics, but he effing sucks. Yeah. Well, you know, the Prime Minister was like, no, never, never, never. That's the thing. He didn't give Trump an inch. He's just, you know, he stayed sort of like diplomatic. He knew the mission. The mission was to, you know, play nice, but also like, you know, stroke his ego a little bit, enough so that he's too stupid to like realize what was going on. Cause Mark pretty much insulted him to his face, and he just nodded and like yes, yes, as if he knew what he was talking about. And he's like, nah, he's literally telling you that NATO is stronger without y'all, and that should you try anything like to our country, you're effed. But you know, over the dummy's head. All right, but yeah, let's not get into that. Let's go back to the topic, because I'll be here for hours if we do. You know me. Supposed to be Jason's kid. Originally, that's my understanding of Gio. Like, he's supposed to be able to make sure of Jocelyn's friend. Oh, they used to hang out with the guitar. Oh, I forgot about that guy. Allison says, yeah, didn't Jocelyn see Rocco? Yeah, she did, and she didn't do anything. Sandy says, do you think Gio will take over Sunny's business? Well, he seemed very interested in Sunny when he first got in, but I don't think so. Allison says, no, Sandy, my sister thinks I should do speed dating. Oh, damn. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a crazy way to, like, meet people, but not in a good way. Angel says, I peeked into Grindr one time to see how things are over on the rainbow. It appears it's no different than Tinder. Yeah, but Grindr was here first. Let's get it. Let's bring that conversation in. Grindr was here first. Tinder totally based their name off of Grindr. But like I feel like Grindr is more like stingy in the sense that like it's clearly a hookup app. You know? It's letting you know that someone is so many feet away from you. You're looking for quick and, you know, efficient time to meet up for some reason. And I'm, you know, to be fair, like I've had dates on Grindr, but I've probably had more hookups on there. Not for a very long time, okay? But, you know, in my 20s, I was a bit of a hoe. Not gonna lie. But, early 20s. Angel says, I remember my college professor didn't eat enough while out drinking and showed up the next day in class hungover. Oh, dang. We had to sit in the classroom in the dark and silence for 15 minutes. Dang. Allison says, yeah, Danny vaped and drank. Yep. I mean, vaping, whatever. Like, yeah, it's not good for kids, obviously. But, like, in the grand scheme, like, compared to what else he could have been doing, vaping is kind of like the lesser of the two evils, you know? Allison, you said, yes, you talked to people for 2 minutes, kind of weird. Yeah, that's not enough time to, like, base anything off of. Carl, you said, you know what I think Sonny should do if he wants to leave the mob? He should just give all his money away to the poor child. I mean, yeah, he might as well give all his money away. I still think that if they're going to do like a Sonny gets out of the mob story, he needs to go out in a way that like kills him. Even if he has to die a hero while he gets killed, like, you know, they've put this narrative of like no one gets out of the mob for decades on this show. So like, or no one gets out of the mob alive. So like, you know too much. Sonny should for sure die. I think Jason, like, he will have the WSB to sort of fall back on, you know? Sandy said, have you seen the 4 old gay guys on Grindr? Is that like a thing? I feel like I might know what you're talking about. Is this like a YouTube video? But listen, there's old guys on Grindr. This is not like a, you know, a just young gays app. Like, there are definitely like 50s, 60s, 70s on there too. There's all ages. You can put minimum 18, maximum, no maximum. So you're gonna get older people. And it's just, you know, even for older people, it's just a easy way to spot the gays. You know, it's either that or the gay bar, or fingers crossed that you've guessed that the person that you're interested in, who seems interested in you at the straight bar you're at, is actually gay. And that's a tricky thing to maneuver. Danny, did he psychologically do anything bad to anybody? No, I don't think so. Gio was a good, like, rebel. Angeli said, the location thing on Tinder made me paranoid to go outside. I didn't understand why strange guys were waving at me. Hey, Albert. What's up? Allison says, and I like Sunny, but it's real, but it's realistic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can like Sunny, but I think if Maurice were to retire, then, like, he should go out with a bang, you know? Let him die a hero. Obviously, if Maurice wants to retire, you can't recast Sunny Corinthos. So, like, kill him off. Kill the guy off. If this is going to be his final story, and again, we have no proof that he's planning on retiring, but the character is talking about leaving the mob. Only one way out of it that would make it at least worth watching is to have Sunny go out in a blaze of glory. Let him, you know, I don't personally care if he were to die a hero, but I understand that, like, fans don't want him just kind of like killed like an animal. So let him die a hero. But he's got to die if he's leaving the mob. Simple as that. But yeah. like I said, it's no, don't kill Sunny. Well, like, if he's retiring, then what's the point in not killing him off? What's he gonna do? Leave with Carly? GH ain't letting her go. Yeah, no one knows for sure. They have to, though. Like, again, Sandy, the narrative is no one leaves the mob alive. Sunny shouldn't be an exception just because he's a beloved character. The beloved character is a mobster, and if he goes out in any way that's just, like, quiet and stupid, then it's gonna be a disservice to, you know, the original Gangsta Sunny. Like, the dude needs to go out in a mob of glory if they're gonna do the story. But since we don't know that he's Maurice is retiring, then, like, I don't know. Well, I guess we gotta wait and see where they're going with this. Angel, you said you saw that Maurice said that TV stations made a mistake getting rid of all my children in my life. Yeah, and he's right. You know, like, they were talking about it, and I fully agreed because we watched it firsthand. How many other shows did they try to replace these two soaps with that failed instantly? Like the shows that followed for the longest time were canceled within a year or two. Every time. The talk shows that they brought on, the cooking shows that they tried to bring on, all of them failed. And I think, you know, the people running the network at that time probably knew that they made a mistake. You know? Maurice. T. What's going on with Alexis and that knife? Someone's gonna get stabbed. That's what I think. You know, they didn't bring this thing back here for nothing. I don't know who's gonna do the stabbing. I don't think Alexis is gonna do the stabbing. Truthfully. Most likely it'll be Christina stabbing someone. Because as much as she talks a big game about, you know, this really changing her, I think Ava is going to unknowingly push her buttons. Probably just to try to get more money out of Alexis, if anything. But, yeah. Nathan, you said cooking show and GMA3 replaced soaps. Now they're gone. Ironic, isn't it? Yeah. Those shows were gone. What was it? The Chew? Yeah, that went well. Sucks to suck. Allison says, yep, maybe Christina stabs Ava. Yeah, I'm thinking that could be the case. Or it's gonna go horribly and she's gonna stab someone who she thinks is Ava and it's gonna be like Molly or something. Not that I think Molly would die from it, but I think something like that could happen. Tis my guess. But yeah, while I had no use for All My Children or One Life to Live, they should have stayed on for sure. It sucks that GH is the only soap on ABC. And you know, it's cool that they try to bring One Life back on streaming network. It was way before its time. It could have probably worked if, you know, now. It probably could have worked now. But it wasn't going to work back then. Molly, you think Molly would stab Lucky? Why? She's not crazy enough to do it. I think, you know what? Christina would probably stab Lucky. That's what I'm gonna call, you know? Not, like, purposely. She'll probably just have some kind of mental breakdown and accidentally stab him, thinking that he's, like, Ava. Or thinking that he's Rick or something. I don't know. Maybe she'll find out that Ava and Rick have been blackmailing her mom. Because Alexis knew the truth about Christina, and so did they. What happened on it was that it was a different streaming network, but it wasn't the same writers. I don't know, but that streaming network isn't even a thing anymore, right? So I think it was probably more so the network just not doing well. I think the premise of like a soap being able to have less censors was intriguing. They could curse and swear and be a little bit more racy. But yeah, it just didn't work. Like the network was not a popular one. It was basically an experiment and it didn't go well because just not the right time. They waited just a few more years, you know? Then it could have worked. Prospect Park, thank you. I can remember the name of it. Christina could stab anyone. And she probably will. I don't see Alexis stabbing anyone with that knife. But they've brought it to the light for some reason. And she's keeping it out there for some reason. One Life and All My Children were on Hulu for the longest time. Oh, okay. Well, what can you do? I mean, I feel like they could have, maybe at this point they could have like a soap streaming app where it would have classic runs of like, not just like All My Children and One Life, but like other sort of defunct soap operas that don't exist. And just, you know, like or even like they have Disney Plus, I guess, for ABC. ABC, like Disney Plus could put all the soaps, even the current ones. But I remember when Disney Plus became a thing, I was watching all my old cartoons just for the nostalgic reasons, because like they're not anywhere. Maybe some of them were on YouTube for a little bit, but they were usually potato quality, and now we're getting it, you know, high def. And I got Disney Plus like right in 2020, so like, and I, you know, at the time no one was working because everyone was laid off because everything was closed. So I was living my best life for like a good 2 months before I got bored. I don't know, Kaiwan. Your theories are like the most far-fetched, not gonna happen kind of theories. That kind of seems to be your shtick. I don't know if you actually believe that any of this would happen, but like, no. Respectfully, like, your theories are a little wackadoodle usually. But yeah, maybe Christina stabs Alexis. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. And honestly, Alexis would deserve it at this point. Just like, you know, I love Nancy and I love the character of Alexis when it comes to just like anything else but her kids. Like, you know, like Nancy is just a hell of an actress and she's enjoyable to watch for me. But the way that she's ride or die for her daughters is not helping anyone. It's not helping her. It's not helping Christina. It's not helping Molly. It's not helping anyone. It certainly didn't help Rick or Ava or Elizabeth. Yeah, Christina's the crazy one. Yeah. I mean, hell, she was crazy back then. Do you guys remember when we had not Lexi, but the second adult Christina, and she like went after Kate with a baseball bat, or Connie, because it was like the altar of Kate. Yeah, she's enabling Christina. Yeah, it's true. It's gonna bite her in the ass for sure. And she'd have no one to blame but herself. Truly. Alexis is driving me bonkers. But just to sort of bring an end to the stream somewhat. Obviously we'll talk for a few more minutes, but just to roll things back to the original topic at hand. Bringing it back to Geo and Dante. I hope that the truth comes out. Hopefully, like at the nurse's ball, like you said. But like this month, because it's May sweeps. It's, you know, it's time. It's time. We can only watch Lulu sort of dangle this, you know, in front of Brooklyn for so long, and Lois barely being able to handle, you know, Dante yelling at his own kid because he doesn't know it's his kid. Also, Lois talking on the phone in the in the middle of the hospital just so out loud where anyone could hear was wild. Girl, she wants someone else to find out. I think she was hoping that Tracy knew the whole truth, truthfully, when Tracy was confronting her. But we'll talk more about that on the Sunday when we do the full recap. Sandy says, Alexis is the one who will end up in a mental hospital after dealing with Christina. They might share a padded cell, you know, together. Or just, they might be neighbors. Time will tell. Time will tell. But yeah. Again, I hope, in terms of the story with Dante and Geo, just in the next few days of it, whatever it will be, I want Dante to take a step back, start thinking clearly, you know, direct some of his anger at Danny and Jason. Mostly Danny. Because Danny put him there in the first place. Rocco did not want to go. Danny peer pressured Rocco into going, okay? And clearly he doesn't act well under peer pressure because then he got drunk and nearly died of alcohol poisoning as a result. Alright. So it's no, well, happy, well, we'll tell you happy birthday on the Sunday then, on the 11th, which is also I think Mother's Day, right? This weekend is Mother's Day. I gotta remember that. Not that we can do anything big until my mom's more settled into her job. But you know, maybe I'll order us dinner. Ooh. But then the live stream. Well, don't worry, I'll live stream on Sunday for sure. Maybe I'll plan like to buy a lunch for them or something, or breakfast. Nathan said, Rocco said he didn't want to play. Danny offered to stay with him too, and Rocco told him no. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Rocco does bear some of the responsibility as well. Danny didn't shove the drinks down his throat. Danny even encouraged him not to drink. Yeah, it's a messy situation. But the last person that should get any of the sort of blowback is Gio. Out of everyone that was possibly there, Danny and Gio, and of course, or not Danny and Jocelyn and Rocco is where all the anger should be directed at. More so than Gio. Gio's just the guy that got him out of there. And in hindsight, I feel like if I was in that situation, I probably would have done exactly what Gio did too. Bring him to a safe place, try to get him to sober up, and truthfully, I don't think I would have noticed if, like, his shallow was breathing. So, you know, thank God for Cody, I guess. Nathan says, Jason better set Dante straight, because why is he being upset with everyone but Rocco? Jason wasn't there, just like Dante wasn't there. True. Angel says, good thing Cody was smart enough to check Rocco's breathing. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I feel like most of us probably would have done exactly what Oh, Angel said I would have called a parent. That's valid too. That's valid too. But to that end, like, for all Gio knew, Dante would have been there, maybe. They didn't really get to sort of plan that far ahead, but that's valid. I guess we also don't know, like, how far this party was from the Quartermains. I mean, it was at the lake, and we know that the Quartermain mansion is also part of the lake. I don't know if Gio, like, walked there. I don't know if he drove there. But, you know, he got him to a safe place. And, like, I guess I'm feeling from the point of view of, like, maybe if I didn't know the phone number of the parent, I don't know. I think likely if I was in that situation, like, if I noticed he wasn't waking up no matter what I was doing, then I would panic and call a parent if I had the number. Had I not had the number, I would have called the hospital for sure. But, who knows, you know? I'd be doing probably what I would do for myself and get food and force him to eat it if he was somewhat coherent, but he really wasn't. But yeah, I don't know. Just thoughts, y'all. But anyway, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. So stay tuned Sunday for the General Hospital after show. And if you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And I will catch you guys this weekend. Take care.